Well, thanks for having me back again. Now I know what Lee used to tell me in the Senate. He always used to tell me that he was calm when I was fired up. So now I'm calm watching him be fired up. So thanks, Lee, for being here. I appreciate your fight. Appreciate the passion that you always bring on issues. And even if you're not in the Senate still, you're always there on the phone. You're always there to support. You're always there for prayer. And that means a lot to me. So, and that's what we need to be doing here. We need to pray for the Rogers. We need to pray for our country. But let's talk a little bit about, I don't want to rehash what I already talked about. We do need to raise money here. But it's about standing up. I started thinking, how many people, it's a little joke that I heard. Everybody's probably heard it, but I'll tell it. Two guys are riding down in Alabama, come up to a stop sign, they roll through it, they get pulled over. Sheriff gets out. Guy says, "What'd you pull me over for?" He said, "We didn't stop for the stop sign." He said, "Well, you know, I did what I had to do." So he pulled out his nightstick, started hitting the guy with it. He said, "Now, do you want me to slow down or do you want me to stop?" Well, then after that, guy says, "Yeah, stop." So he walked around the other side of the car, hit his buddy a couple times with the nightstick. So, "What'd you hit me for?" He said, "Well, I didn't want you to get a half mile down the road and say, I wish that guy had hit me with that nightstick." So that's what we've been having here in Spartanburg. You got a bunch of people saying, even if they own restaurants, "Well, they better not do me like that." Well, when it comes time to stand up, you see Neil and Angela is the only one standing. Everybody else is scared. What's going to happen? What do we do? We got to stay open. We got to ask people to wear a mask to come into our restaurant. We got to ask people to sit socially distance. Oh, you got 7 people in your group? Well, how about 4 of y'all sit over there and 3 of y'all sit over there? Really? Neil and Angela said enough is enough. They took a stand, and now they're having to pay for that stand. And that's what we're here to do today, is to try to help them pay for that stand that they took. That's what this is all about. That's why you need to encourage your friends. Even if they're not here today, you can send a check. You can write the check to Robert Murding if you don't want to write it to Neil. You can write it to, it's probably best not to write it to Ike's, because then it becomes income to them. So
we do take cash.
Yeah, well, they do take cash. I'm just talking about, Tim, for the people that they're going to go home and tell about this and this great event if they want to send a check later. That's what I hope they'll do. But we come back and we heard people talking about other government mandates as far as the COVID shot. I wasn't really going to get into that today, but it's been a lot of talk. And I want to tell you how it's very similar. It's not so much of what they're trying to get us to force us to do. They're trying to see how much we will comply with. That's really where we're at right now, is how much we'll comply with. Well, what I'm telling people, it's the same thing when I was writing the governor letters, calling the governors, asking him to stop this madness and shutting down our businesses. I've been asking him to help us stop these vaccine mandates. Look, somebody wants to get the shot, more power to them. I'm not going to begrudge them for that, but I don't want the government or a private business telling somebody to take a shot as a condition of their job. I don't want that to happen. Nobody wants that to happen. Thank you. So it's a similar thing. If we all just end up and let the 2 nurses at the hospital be the Angela and Neil of the restaurant industry, it's not going to work. We need to learn by what happened here, and by Neil taking a stand. It did slow down some of the madness. Just think about what if everybody, when they go to work at AT&T. I've been on them. See a friend of mine here works there. Kohler. All of those places that are starting this mess. If everybody, right now they're trying to find good people. If everybody stands up and says, "No, I'm not going to do it," I'm hoping there's going to be enough time that goes by where the court system will eventually say enough's enough. Because our governor, he's good enough to talk on television to get that talking point in to make people who are paying about 20% attention think he's doing something. Well, he's not doing anything. He said he was going to fight to the gates of hell. We've been at those gates, and he's got them locked from the other side of the governor's mansion. That's where we're at right now. So we need to stick together on that. Neil and Angela, they took a chance and stood up to the government. But they weren't standing for them. They were standing for the restaurant down the street. They were standing for the restaurant in Union County. They're standing for everybody and taking the heat. Well, I think right now as we see more of it, they got away with that for all the other business except Ike's. On the mandates, more coming down, I think if everybody stands up and says no, they can't fire everybody. They're not going to be able to fire everybody. And I think there'll be enough time for us to have enough help. Right now, Lee can tell you, you think we've got a big, huge supermajority of Republicans in the State House? We don't. I mentioned here earlier, when I stood on the Senate floor, Lee mentioned for 6 hours, I was up there, 3 or 4 hours for constitutional carry, fighting for that. I got 21 votes out of 30 Republican senators and 46 total senators. The vote was 21-25. Jeff, you watched it. 21-25 to give us the purest of Second Amendment rights that our state could ever have and that we should have. I got 21 votes and lost. So we don't have enough help. So everybody here has to stick together. You've got to pray for those of us who are trying to do right and just keep the fight and encourage us to keep the fight, because it's a tough time to be in politics. I don't want to get off on too much of that tangent, but again, Neil, Angela, thank you for everything that you've done. Everybody, thank you for being out here.